Welcome to the Courage to Be podcast with Tania Vasallo. Before we get into this episode, I want to share with you that I'm on a mission to close the gender gap in the podcasting world so that more and more women's voices are heard. If you feel that this is something you value too, then please rate, review, and share the podcast. And in exchange, and as my way to say thank you to you, I want to give you free access to my signature course called Manifesting Abundance, which typically sells for $997. All you have to do to gain access is leave me a review on Apple Podcasts, take a snapshot of it, and send it to help.thecouragetobe@gmail.com, and we'll get you set up with access to the course. Welcome back to the Courage to Be, where we have powerful conversations to transform your life and your business. And we are back with Trish Lopez. If you have not listened to our last episode that she was talking about her business of Teeniors, please go back and listen to it. It is so amazing just to talk about the different generations and technology and how to bridge those generations and bring them together. But Trish today, welcome back, Trish.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited because you wanted to teach us a little bit about AI for beginners. And I just want to learn a little bit about why should we be interested in AI? Because there's a lot of people that are a little bit like resistant to it. So what would you suggest before you go into teaching us some things?
Okay, so I would first of all say that you are already using AI, whether you know it or not. It's very prevalent in our society. It's in our Gmail when we write emails. Using Siri or Alexa is using AI. There's lots of ways in which it's being used, even if we just visit websites. We're also using it if we go to, Disney Plus and stream a movie. It suggests movies based on what we've watched because it follows patterns. Other people have liked this kind of movie, so we think you'll like this kind of movie. So that's kind of how it works.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think that's important for those that are a little bit scared about AI. I'm always curious. I want to learn new things, but I know that there's a lot of people that are on the other side, of just like, I don't want to learn anything. I don't want to deal with it. So why should we want to get curious about AI?
So as you said, Tania, there's benefits and there's dangers to AI, both on a personal level and on a society level. Why we might get comfortable with it is if you are already using Google, let's say we're saying, what are the most, for example, I'm on an allergen cleanse once every 7 weeks when I get an allergy shot. What are the foods I'm allowed to have while I'm on this particular cleanse? I can ask that of Google, right? Google gives you a targeted search. AI gives you an answer. So it's much nicer that way that AI gives you an answer, but it is not always the correct answer. That's what's so important. So AI is faster if you and I are like, I need to create a budget. I'm applying for this small business grant, and here are the details. AI can immediately create you a budget. It's like having a really fast assistant do a first draft for you, but it's not always correct. So when I first started with AI, it was because I wanted to do a budget for a federal grant that I was applying for, and I wanted a first draft because I was strapped for time. I only ended up using about 30% of what AI created for me, but it was really helpful, I admit. I definitely have concerns about anything that is online being too intrusive of our data. Our data just means all the information we share, our contacts, the things we click on, everything. But again, this is already happening. So I'm like, it's very important that people understand AI, even if they choose not to use it. That's how I feel about technology in general. So I would summarize my presentation with that. It's important that you understand AI, even if you choose not to actively use it.
So do you want to share with us a little bit? This is awesome. Thank you, Trish.
Let me do a little bit of sharing. So first of all, I would say when we think about technology in the new millennium, we're now in 2025. One of the things that we know for sure is that everybody's got smart devices these days, pretty much everyone. Smart device, from a smartphone to a smartwatch to smart speakers like Alexa to Bluetooth and Ring doorbells, those are all devices that can connect to your internet. That's how you can make it a smart device. It's connecting to your internet. So that's the difference between a flip phone from back in the day where it's using cellular data that's only able to do phone calls, or, the big brick cell phones from mobile phones from back in the day, to what we now have, which are smartphones that can, have GPS access, that can stream a movie, that can listen to music and stream music and all this stuff. So those are smart devices that are pretty prevalent now. Video calls became super prevalent after COVID, as you know, especially when Zoom's leadership team said, we'll give it to all the public schools for free, even though they didn't nearly have the security to do that, and there were plenty of breaches. Video calls are now a very prevalent thing because of this turn in society. So my beliefs about technology is what I'll touch on for a second, then talk about AI, who started it, some examples, why should we care, what are the dangers. My belief in this era that we are living in is that your focus is the new currency. That is all the big tech companies are going for. That's all the profiteers are going for. And so technology is a tool. And just like every other tool, it's got benefits and dangers. So I would say an automobile is a tool. It's a very big tool. A chainsaw is a tool. They both have fantastic benefits if you need those machines. They also can be extremely dangerous. So tech is addictive. That's something we can discuss at length, which we won't today. And so my beliefs are that your relationships, your community is what really provides the enrichment and meaning in your life. Technology, because whether we like it or not, living in this increasingly digital age is something that I feel we need to understand, even if we don't want to actively use it. So what is AI? Artificial intelligence means computer systems that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. It's like a very smart computer that can not only answer your questions like ChatGPT, it can also learn. It can solve problems. It can make decisions, much like a human brain. So it can be very dangerous in this way, as you can imagine. The most popular AI websites are right now ChatGPT, Canva. So ChatGPT is for general text interaction, like kind of conversational. Canva is AI image generation and design tools. There's Runway, which is AI video creation, GitHub, Copilot, Perplexity, which is the one that I like if I'm going to be doing an AI search engine, because I like that it cites where it gets its information. And we could go on. The most popular AI search engines are ChatGPT Search, DeepSeek, which came out of China and became increasingly popular this year, Google Gemini, which you're often now using whether you like it or not, just if you Google something, and Perplexity. So AI did not start, people say, who started AI? Who started it? No single inventor. It emerged through the contributions of many people over time. AI, as we know it today, began to take shape in the 1950s. So Alan Turing, often called the father of AI, proposed like a famous Turing test in 1950 to measure a machine's ability to exhibit intelligent behavior. John McCarthy, also called the father of AI, who's passed, coined the term artificial intelligence in 1955 when he organized a groundbreaking workshop at Dartmouth that was widely considered the birth date of AI as a formal field of study. And there's been many, many other key figures along the way who have helped lay the foundation for the AI technologies that we use today, from voice assistants to self-driving cars. So how does AI work? AI systems learn from data. When data just means lots and lots of information. So they are identifying patterns and improving their performance over time because they get smarter with the more data they take in. So basically, the more we use ChatGPT, the stronger we are making that machine that is ChatGPT. So all AI uses data to figure things out, no matter what type of AI it is. The more it's given, the smarter it becomes. Just as you and I learn from school or practice, like the more often we play basketball, the more often we dribble, the better we're going to get. From lots of information intake, AI learns patterns. And so it looks for more patterns in that data. So if it sees that most people who like action movies also like superhero movies, it will suggest those to you. So think about how it can spot patterns. And then it can make decisions on its own, much like a human, but much faster and with huge amounts of data. So with much more knowledge. So it learns from lots of examples. If you want AI to recognize cats, you would show it thousands of cat pictures. It might eventually notice that cats usually have pointy ears and whiskers. So it's looking for patterns in all this data. Once it's learned these patterns, the AI can make decisions or predictions similarly to how it can do on your smartwatch based on your activity and based on your heart rate, et cetera. So once it has learned these patterns, then it makes decisions or predictions. When it's shown a new picture, it can say, oh, that's a cat, based on what it's learned. And it improves over time. The more the AI practices, meaning the more we use it, the better it gets. If it makes a mistake, it can learn from that too, like what not to do. So it's really important to know this if we use ChatGPT in some of these AI systems, because not only are we making it smarter, but we're making it smarter for companies that are profiting off of it. I always say, if you don't know what the product is of this thing that you're using for free, you're the product. It is mining our data, like what we are inputting. So AI uses what it learns to solve problems or do tasks. On a personal level, it's like it can play chess, translate languages, drive cars. Voice assistants like Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant, they can understand your voice and help with tasks. Health monitoring, so it can track your health and predict potential issues, like on some devices, a smartwatch. Smart home devices can control your lights, your thermostat, even lock your doors. And video games can control characters that can act smartly and challenge you. And then, of course, the online recommendations. So we could go on. Why else would I use AI? If you are a person who has a disability, for example, let's say you've never been able to walk, and you put on a virtual reality headset, and suddenly you're standing at the top of Mount Rushmore, or the Swiss Alps. You can imagine what a game changer that is. Something that this person will likely never experience in their life, given their disability. So it gives you this artificial world. And one example like that is like life-changing, seemingly. It can create art for you, right? Like I can say, make a purple panther with reading glasses, wearing a suit, teaching a class in an elementary classroom, using a black chalkboard, showing other jungle animals how the jungle works. And it can immediately start creating that visual for you. And then if you don't like what it's created, you can edit and say, change the purple to red. It's really fascinating. So many things it can do. What are the dangers? As you can imagine, there's many dangers, both from our addiction and inability to start thinking for ourselves after a while, to the much more massive dangers like AI, robots, drones, all the military, massive destructive weapons that can be used against people. So there's all kinds of dangers, from personal dangers to like privacy. AI collects and analyzes vast amounts of your personal data, compromising your privacy, to bias and discrimination. AI can perpetuate or amplify existing biases, leading to unfair treatment of humans, like for hiring or loan approvals, lots of things. Job displacements, as AI automates more tasks, a lot of people are fearing unemployment and reduced job opportunities. That happens with every new technology, so that's not unique to AI. The manipulation, it can be used for targeted manipulation, influencing personal opinions, public opinions, behaviors, as you can imagine. Like that leads to an erosion of democracy because it can be used to spread misinformation, manipulate public opinion, interfere with elections. From the military standpoint, it can be exploited for the development of autonomous weapons and cyber attacks that, remember, the AI machines think for themselves. And polarization. AI-driven content can definitely lead to echo chambers and increase social division like we're seeing nowadays. Plus, there's a lack of transparency. It can be difficult to understand how AI makes decisions, especially deep learning models. So the other dangers is that we become dependent on it, right? It can lead to a loss of creativity, critical thinking skills, human intuition. It's a small concentration of companies dominating AI development. AI disproportionately benefits wealthy corporations and individuals. And there's a huge environmental impact. AI uses lots of energy and water, contributing to climate change. So I could go on and on. There's an author who's really great on this subject. His name's Yuval Noah Harari. He's the author of Nexus. He also wrote Sapiens, I believe, back in the day. And he talks about many issues around AI. I highly encourage anyone to check out his work if they want to learn more in terms of the dangers and what we all can do. My personal thoughts to, make this a quick class is that AI can make people so reliant on technology that we will need it to function and solve problems for us. Corporations and other powers benefit from our reliance on AI, just like they benefit from our reliance on social media, et cetera. And eventually it feels like you can't live without it. They know the shows we watch, the music we listen to, who we call, who we text, who we email, what we say, what we watch, where we go, what we eat, what we buy. It's really important for all of us to understand that about technology in this day and age. And a lot of this are things that you're agreeing to when you do all the terms, on software and hardware that you purchase and the software we don't purchase. So what we can do is we need careful regulation, ethical guidelines, ongoing discussions to ensure that AI development aligns with our human values, and our societal well-being. But as you probably know, not many people in Congress understand AI. There are very few people who understand technology at all. There's a lot of older men in Congress, and the companies are far faster at making all these things happen, and the laws and all the regulations catch up later as best they can. So there's lots we can do. The first step is awareness. So just this quick overview that we're discussing now, Tania, I think is about all we have time for today. But there's plenty of information to learn more. I teach a class on it that's longer than this, where we could go over more. And I would say, just remember that when you're doing these, engaging with AI, like ChatGPT, like Perplexity, remember that, again, if you don't know what the product is, you are the product. Like if you're like, what am I paying for? You are paying with your data, which is all your personal information. So that's what I would say about AI. Thank you for inviting me to share that.
Yeah, I think it's such an important topic and that we would have to go even deeper. I have a couple questions for you. Having Teeniors, being the founder, and running Teeniors, where you're helping seniors, you're connecting seniors with teenage kids. If you're enjoying today's episode and you'd like to support the podcast and treat yourself to a little adventure, I've got something special for you. Every month, I'm giving away a complimentary 7-night, 8-day vacation, and you get to choose from over 3,000 incredible resorts around the world. Imagine relaxing on the beach, exploring new places, or taking that dreamiest break you didn't even know you needed. Entering is easy. Just rate and review The Courage to Be on Apple Podcasts. Want to increase your chances of winning? Head over to my YouTube channel and leave a comment on each episode you watch. Every single comment counts as an additional entry. Once you've done that, email your screenshot to help.thecouragetobe@gmail.com, and you'll find that address in the show notes too. It only takes a minute, and your next vacation might be closer than you think. Are they teaching them about AI too? Are you training them, or are they not?
Typically, they're not there yet. First of all, a lot of people don't know much about AI except for like how to use ChatGPT, which is the easiest thing in the world because you just plug in your question, type in your question, and you get an answer. So I would say a lot of the kids don't even know the depths of AI in terms of its dangers as well as its benefits. And we don't have many adults at this point who are trying to use it. We do have a lot of older adults who are trying to understand it. So I'm not seeing a ton of, in our one-on-one coaching sessions that the teens and 20-somethings do, I'm not seeing a lot of people asking, show me how to use ChatGPT. There's a few, I think, here and there, but not many. I am seeing a lot of people show up when I teach AI for beginners, because I think again, those of us who didn't grow up attached to a cell phone, we know to be skeptical of technology when it comes out, no matter how popular it is. I do think that we know that, and that's the wisdom of the older generations. So we're not looking to jump into something because it's popular. We're not looking to get a TikTok account just because. We want to know more about it, and then we decide whether to engage.
Yeah, that's so important. Do you think that it'll go down that path where the seniors will want to learn from the teenagers about AI, and that's why you're jumping in?
Yeah, I think everybody is going to want to learn about AI because it's a really cool technology. And up to this point, people haven't cared that much about the security issues and your privacy concerns. And, we just kind of all are accepting, like, well, this is what everybody's doing now, and it's really cool. And it makes my life more convenient if I use this or that. So we've proven that we're not really holding them accountable yet.
And it sounds like you're obviously curious, you're learning about it, you're going down that rabbit hole. But do you set limitations for yourself, of like, oh, I won't do X, Y, and Z, or I won't engage? Like, what might some
Yeah.
examples be?
Yeah, that's a great question. I do try to. So, for example, I'll actively leave my phone at home. And I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but we're so used to our phones that when you leave your phone at home, you're like, oh, wow, not only did I give up my opportunity to communicate with others, but I'm giving up the opportunity to GPS my way to my doctor's office, my brother's house, whatever it might be. And it's like now I'm to the point where I want to map it to my brother's house anyway, just to see what the traffic's going to be like. What time will I arrive? There's so much benefit that I do have to actively put the phone away, just like everyone else, because it is definitely something that gets you hooked in easily. It's really important to make sure you grow the in-person human connection, the communication with people in person.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I mean, I forgot my phone, I don't know, a couple months ago, and both my husband and my daughter were making fun of me. They're like, "Oh, are you going to be able to survive without the phone?" Because we were out for like the whole day or whatever. I was like, honestly, I think you guys have the wrong image. I'm okay not having the phone right now. And it felt good, but purposely leaving the house without a phone, Trish, wow, you've gone up a whole other notch for me.
It's
It's
not easy though, Tanya. I tell you, like it's not often and it's not easy. And that's because it's not just being hooked on it. It's that to make my life work, if I've got a 20-minute drive to my kiddo's school, well, then I want to be returning work calls on that drive so that I'm not returning work calls later when she's with me. So it is certainly a convenience, even if it's not addictive. So you can see why, like, your family's probably making fun of you. I have no doubt that you can easily give up your phone for the day. But as you know, it's not even just about can I give it up from an addiction standpoint, because I feel like I can. It's about I would love to get some work done while I'm sitting in traffic because it really is a better use of my time than just sitting in traffic. So that all of that ends up being a balance because of course there has to be times when we just have our downtime to like stare at the wall or whatever. So I actively prioritize human connection in my life. And that's why even if I accidentally forget it, I'm like, okay, good. That's a good thing. Like I need to get how to find my way to an address again instead of like Google mapping it.
And one last question, because I know you have to go, but how do we get over job displacement and all the people that are like fearing, like, oh my God, now, we don't need copywriters, we don't need,
Right.
accountants, we don't need, like, what would you say to people that are like at risk of their jobs becoming
Yeah.
obsolete at some point?
You know what's funny, Tanya? I am way more optimistic about this than anyone I know. I am like, in my mind, every time there's a new technology, and this has been going on since the industrial era, people lose jobs. Like this machine now is doing something faster than the humans can do it. And we adapt. And people don't like it. A lot of people don't like change. But for some reason, when it comes to AI, maybe it's just because I'm not yet seeing the jobs that are so valuable. I mean, they might be valuable money wise to the people that are doing them. But to me, I don't know how many people really do want to sit there and code for 8 hours a day. So I question whether it really is that tragic if we lose some of these jobs to AI because I'm so big on human connection, right? So, like, to me, the value is like people who are counseling people, they're like the social connections, people who are incarcerated, getting human connection. Like, I'm really interested in the human connection. So, I think that's why I'm like, if AI can do repetitive jobs that, of course, I have sympathy and empathy for people who are going to lose jobs due to AI. It's just that I don't think it has to be AI. It could be any technology. There's always a risk that any of us can lose our jobs for a number of reasons. And so remembering to be adaptable and valuing the values in your life, which for me is my relationships above all else, I think that can help get you through this, because there's always going to be a need for honest, reliable, hardworking people. You know, disabilities, no disabilities, male, female, different races, different. I just think for some reason, I'm not as pessimistic about it as everybody else.
I think that's great. I'm of the same perspective. I'm curious and I just want to know, because it's here, it's happening. So it's like, do you want to adapt and learn about it and see the benefits and how we can adapt or not? So as we're finishing up, where can people find you, Trish?
Teeniors.com, Teeniors.com. We help people in person in New Mexico. We help people live online around the globe.
Thank you. And one last question. How can our listeners live a life of more courage when it comes to AI?
I think about how often you're using it and cut that in half. The same way that if you're eating a meal at McDonald's every day, we all know that's not healthy for us. Start in whatever way you can manage, which means instead of 7 days a week, you're moving it to 4 days a week. Instead of 4 days a week, you are now moving to 3 to 2. Like, I'm a cold turkey, if I can, kind of person when it comes to breaking a bad habit. But if you're feeling like you're reliant on AI, start doing whatever you can to cut that time up, even if it means going for a walk, whatever it is that helps you, even in baby steps. And if you're not using it yet, by all means, read more and more about the dangers of AI so that when you do start using it, you will do so with care and consideration and well aware of the addictive nature of it, just like any other technology, well aware of the dangers. There's not much you can do from it being invasive on your privacy, in my opinion. But just remember, like, for example, it sounds silly, but I keep all my DVDs. I keep all my road atlas maps. I do these things because I'm like, if there's no streaming one day, if there's no GPS one day, I need to know like how to get places. Like, I do things in the back of my mind to help myself know and feel confident that I can still live life if technology were gone tomorrow.
Ooh, thank you. That was a great one. Thank you, Trish, so much for being with us and sharing your knowledge on AI and your time and everything. So thank you.
Thank you, Tania. Have a great week.
If you loved today's episode, it would mean so much if you rate and review The Courage to Be on Apple Podcast. Not only does it help the show to grow, but it also gets you in the running for something amazing. Every month, I draw one lucky winner to receive a complimentary 7-night, 8-day vacation. You'll get to pick from over 3,000 beautiful resorts worldwide. You just cover the taxes and fees like you would with a travel rewards. Airfare is not included. And if you want to double your chances, along with your Apple Podcast review, leave a couple of comments on YouTube. That counts as a second entry. Just send your screenshots to help.thecouragetobe@gmail.com and you'll find the email in the show notes too. It only takes a moment, and who knows, your next adventure might be closer than you think. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on our next episode of the Courage to Be podcast.